Welcome to the January 18th, 2022 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
I'm still not used to 2022, Lotus. It's a lot of twa. And it's not even like for like toilet. There's no like T-O-I, you know, like it's, yeah.
No, that would be crazy.
Yeah, no. But anyway, we had not a ton of, like, super important things, just some kind of fun things happen this week. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about them.
But first, we'll open with crap.
Yeah, I mean, like, this NFT shit needs to stop. I don't know what's the fascination in it. I guess everybody wants to make a buck off of it, but...
Well, that's the thing. It's a grift for the people who know, and... I mean, it still is for those who don't, but they're the ones being grifted.
Yeah, exactly. So, apparently, a voice acting favorite, Troy Baker, wants to sell us NFTs and will not listen to his fans about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really disappointing.
Because, like, he opened by saying, "Do you want to hate or create?" And then everyone jumped on his throat, and he was like, "Okay, that post was too aggressive." But people were like... That wasn't the problem.
Yeah, it's the actual thing that you're trying to do is shitty. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say, like, to convince people that this crap is, no good. And also, like, not useful to anybody at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, there's lots of things that aren't useful to anybody, but yeah, like... It's also directly detrimental both for the environment and for like, multiple artists and industries.
And not only that, but it's just straight up not regulated and like
a lot of it is just outright theft, like stealing an artist's work and like turning it into an NFT, and the artist is like, I never gave permission for this.
Yeah, there's just fraud going on every which way, and there's also like a lot of like laundering going on with it. It's just insane. So some favorite stuff that he's done. He's been in Full Metal Alchemist. No,
he hasn't. Been in it. Sorry, I was thinking Edward Elric, but that was different actor. But yeah, he's been in Full Metal Alchemist.
I'm not getting into that.
He's been in wasn't he Joel in The Last of Us?
Yes, he's very famously been he's also been in Uncharted 4, right? He's the brother.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, Sam. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
And also, this one might take
Bleach.
you a bit by surprise.
He's been in Bleach, Code Geass.
Well, this one might surprise you a bit.
Shin-Chan.
He's been James Sunderland in Silent Hill 2.
Oh wow, there you go.
How is that possible, you may ask?
I may.
Okay, there it is. Thank you. It was the HD re-release.
Oh, okay.
Because do you remember the whole thing with the HD re-release of Silent Hill?
Yeah. They supposedly couldn't find the actors when the actors were like, "Hey, we're right here." Like,
they're supposedly full of shit. Yeah, so they compromised by bringing the old actors back, so you actually have two sets of voice acting for PS3 360 Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, he's also the main character in Tales of Vesperia. Let's see here.
I
Yuri.
Thank you. I was like, what is? I should know this.
And Tales of Vesperia is held as like the best Tales of game.
It's way up there. Yeah.
By like a lot of people, if not like next to best, because the newest one apparently is like the shit.
Arise? Yeah.
Yeah.
And people really like Berseria too.
Yeah, and Berseria is up there too.
Like Vesperia was. I think it's safe to say it was the best of its era, but it still is among the best.
Yeah, and like Tales of Abyss is like right up there as well.
Yeah, people like Abyss as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think people like Symphonia mostly because it was like the one they had.
If you look back at Symphonia, you can do better. But like at the time, it was engaging. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that. Like if you were to play Resident Evil 4 for the very first time now, you'd be like, "This is the game people couldn't stop raving about."
Context,
yeah. like I mean that was hands down my favorite Resident Evil game to play at the time. I beat the crap out of that game back in the day.
That was like one of the top 10 games of all time when it came out, and it's no longer even close. Like, that's
mainly
what's funny
because
about
you can't control the camera. That would actually change the game considerably if you could, but at the
you
time
would need
its
to
controls
redesign
were
it.
actually an evolution.
Yeah. No, I mean, when it came out, it was... People don't understand how revolutionary that game was.
Yeah, it either
just was
invented or at the
insane.
very least popularized the over-the-shoulder shooter.
Yeah, I think Kill Switch beat it. I think, but
yeah, but I've heard of Resident Evil. What's this game? And it took off.
Yeah, Winback was another game. A Sweary game.
That's insane.
Yeah, but actually, I think he only did Winback 2. But yeah, yeah.
You just said he did Winback also.
The sequel to Winback.
Who's on first?
Oh yeah, he's the default male voice for Saints Row the Third. Like he's a lot of.
He's
things.
all over the place. He was Joker in Batman Arkham Origins.
Yeah, he's Vincent.
He's Vincent.
Yeah.
You're such a shit in that game.
Tons of things, and yeah, like that. That's why it's particularly egregious, because you probably love him in quite a few roles.
Well, similarly, like Tara Strong also
there.
seems to have been embracing NFTs, and she's been in everything.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is these guys aren't reading the room. They really aren't. I don't know. I guess there's probably a bunch of like crossover with shitty anime fans and shitty NFT people. But
like popular anime when you grew up, like it's hard to let that go.
Yeah, but
like, how would you like it if someone came out and said that the main voice actor for like one of the primary protagonists of like Dragon Ball Z was terrible? Like, that's a blow.
Jesus Christ. I'm not getting into that.
What, have you never heard of Goku or Gohan?
I thought you were talking about...
I said primary protagonist, not a movie-only villain that most people haven't even fucking seen.
I'm just saying. We're kind of dancing around that, but we're not
really
going to get into it.
The main character of main character of Rurouni Kenshin, main character of Dragon Ball Z, main character of Yu Yu Hakusho, like, it would suck to learn that person was a piece of shit.
Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, NFTs, man. Like I'm not gonna buy into it ever. Thanks.
It's gotten to the point where some people have actually come out and tweeted that, like, just so you know, like Greg Chun. He's a voice actor. He's Yagami in Judgment and Lost Judgment. And he was like, hey guys, just want to throw this one out there. I'm never doing NFTs. And everyone's like, whew, you're one of the safe ones.
It's best if you say you won't.
You just get it out there, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, I don't know if you heard about this stupid thing that happened, but I heard something. I heard that it was a thing that existed, but I don't know precisely what about. Okay, so some crypto bros, like who made a whole bunch of money, off of cryptos.
Yeah.
Because they're trash. Bought a copy of there's something like 20 copies of Jodorosky's Dune out there, which is
for context about that is we know David Lynch made Dune back in the day, and
correct.
Jodorosky was like, I forgot if he had started making the movie or if he was just like going to, and that would have been a very different movie. That guy's got a particular style that's fucking nuts. You think David Lynch is fucking nuts? This guy is out there.
Yeah,
it's like, what if he made Dune? That would be interesting. And there's actually a documentary about that.
Try watching El Topo, right? Isn't he the El Topo guy?
I think he might have been. Yeah, that guy's. He's got style, but you have to be ready for his movies. I was not, so I was not ready for like the second half of El Topo.
Yeah. So what he did, I think they decided that he didn't want to make. They didn't want to make it with him, which is.
It's
probably fair because like I wouldn't believe that Alejandro Jodorowsky would ever be profitable.
That's a good point. Like he has his audience, but it is not the mainstream.
No. So he's mostly well known for making two movies, El Topo and The Holy Mountain, and both are weird and disturbing as hell.
Yeah.
and El Topo is easier to watch than the Holy Mountain. The Holy Mountain is like one of the most disturbing movies I've ever heard of.
Yeah, El Topo is not typically straight up disturbing, but it has a couple moments where you're like I would like this scene to end sooner rather than later.
It's more like what am I watching? And this is like it's so uncomfortable. I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but El Topo is famous because of its structure, which is pretty influential.
Fight boss after boss. Didn't you tell me that influenced like just the structure of No More Heroes?
Correct.
Just fight crazy bosses and like that get weirder and weirder. Even Killer 7. Suda51's games always have like standout bosses. Like I know Killer 7, you don't really picture it for the bosses, but if you think about them, they all play differently and they're all interesting in their own way.
That's why I like them. Yeah. I like Suda51's bosses the best. That's what he does the best, and not necessarily a level design.
Well, that was No More Heroes' whole like meta commentary. It's like build up, finally a boss fight. That's why it was so funny when Travis got furious. Like he was like emulating the player's reaction when Let's Shake just didn't happen.
It's amazing. Please play No More Heroes. It's
more accessible now. You can do it. It's on the Switch.
But El Topo had this structure where basically the hero in the first half of the movie is trying to it's basically like a Zen thing. Like he's killing each boss that he kills, he like gains knowledge or ability.
Yeah, it almost
every
makes
time.
me think of Afro Samurai, where
or Mega Man
aren't necessarily gaining knowledge with each kill, but but if you can become number 1 though, oh man, like that'll be it. Like so,
yeah,
it's kind of like that. Like if I could take out all the opponents, then I'll be like peak whatever I am.
Yeah, basically, like in defeating each villain, you have to defeat each of them in a different way because they're all different and they all kind of teach you a different lesson when you approach them. So, that's all part of it. But the second half of the movie is just unwatchable.
It's
the
not
first
unwatchable, but it's a different movie. It's just like a Jesus allegory that you're like, okay, but then
it
keeps
beats
going
you over
for
the
half
head.
of
It's
the
not
movie.
even an allegory. It's not even an allegory. It's like it's too
it's
on
retelling
the nose.
it, but with that guy instead. The only thing I'll really because it's just a different movie at that point.
Yeah.
But I will say I kind of like how it ultimately ends. But
yeah, me too.
But really, like if you've heard of El Topo, you've probably heard of it for the first half, which I still quite like.
Yeah, no, the first half is worth watching. So that guy tried to made his own script and everything for a treatment of Dune before David Lynch was assigned to do it.
That would have been insane. I keep referencing Red Letter Media, but Jay from Red Letter Media has said imagine the movie that never was. Imagine that. But he's like, but if it had been made though, it would have been a disaster.
Yeah. So. The David Lynch one was a disaster, and he's more mainstream, especially at the time.
I mean, everybody's heard of Dune, and they know certain scenes from it, but that movie did not do well at the time, and even now, if you were to try watching it, you're like, okay, I see why I didn't do well at the time.
So, the funny thing is, when you go back and watch it, knowing if you had read the book or seen the more recent movie, you're like, well, actually, this is pretty damn accurate. But it's just weird for the time.
Accurate.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like if they made the movie of the Silmarillion first, and either you get it or you don't.
Yeah, exactly. You need to have read the book for it to make sense.
Or even in the Lord of the Rings, where Gandalf's wearing a certain ring, and you're like, oh, that's the ring that inspires hope from the elf. But they never explain it, and they don't have to. But if you know, you know.
Well, I'm so surprised in the Lord of the Rings how little they talk about the other rings, and what they do.
They open into it in the beginning, but honestly, even in the books, they don't go hardcore into it.
No, at all. There might be one that's a fire ring, and that's about it.
I think the dwarven rings were just destroyed. The elven rings.
The implication is that the dwarves have them, but they're telling everybody else that they're destroyed.
Okay.
There's an implication there. They kind of shuffle their feet every time somebody asks about it.
Okay, I forgot that.
Yeah, so the implication is that they do have them.
Okay.
It's never confirmed, of course, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Why else would you awkwardly
is the
shuffle?
world-ending ring.
Yeah. Why else would you awkwardly shuffle when asked about something like that?
Yeah.
But anyway, so that guy was given, they took that opportunity away from him. So he was, and Jodorosky's a very weird person, a very weird person.
Yeah, like he seems like a cool guy, but like he's
odd.
Out there. Yeah.
Listening to him talk, he'll use phrases that don't exist. Anybody but himself. That's what I was going to
mention. Like, going back to David Lynch, if you talk to him, like, you'll have a normal conversation.
Yeah, sure.
But then his movies are fucking nuts. But, like, Jodorowsky looks like how his movies... Or, not looks like, but, like, acts like how his movies, like, look.
Yeah, he has his own way of talking, which is very odd. Somebody asked him about, he's been wanting to make a sequel to El Topo for a very long time, and
Los Topos, please.
Something like that. And
are you serious? That'd be amazing.
No, he's been wanting to make an El Topo. I think what is it? It's Spanish for the mole. I don't know. Anyway, he was just like, oh, they treated me like a bunch of raw meat. When I tried to make this, it's like, what do you even bunch of raw meat?
I understand what you're saying, but yeah,
nobody says that.
Yeah,
and he said it in English, and people, everybody was just like looking at him, like, what?
The closest I can think of to that is like, what am I, chopped liver?
Well, yeah, but I don't know. And even in other languages, he doesn't make sense. Apparently, he's just one of those people that it's like trying to read Ghost in the Shell. You ever tried to read the manga?
No.
It's borderline nonsense. It's just it is so weird and idiosyncratic that it's almost impossible to follow, especially the sequel. If you read Ghost in the Shell 2, it is, and I thought it was like a translation thing. They're like, no, it's that way in Japanese. Nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about. Nobody in Japan knows what he's fucking talking about either.
Jesus.
So yeah, it's just one of those things. But anyway, I think he's just one of the Ghost in the Shell guy. Masamune Shirow is just more well known just for his art than his storytelling.
I was gonna say, after Ghost in the Shell, doesn't he do just nothing at all but like hentai manga at this point?
And it's not normal hentai.
Oh really?
It's
is it continuing Ghost in the Shell? It's machine stuff?
No, yes, but it's blue dot kind of stuff. It's not good.
Okay.
Do not.
Also, by the way, that was amazing. By the way, no. Well, yes.
It is very uncomfortable.
Okay.
The kind of stuff he makes is for people I would not get along with.
Okay.
But anyway, yes, it's yeah, nah, I don't want to get into it. But anyway, Jodorosky said, "Well, fuck you. I'm going to publish my treatment." And apparently he got this gigantic tome of a book and published it.
That's amazing.
But something only 20 copies of it ever got out, because of course you can't publish this thing based off of a license that you don't have.
Yeah.
And he's a fucking nut, so he just was like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, he just does what he wants.
Exactly.
If you saw his movies, you would probably already know that.
Yeah. So he publishes this, and it's kind of like Genesis Tetris, like only 6 of them get out.
Yeah.
So there's 20 copies of this out, and NFT bros go, okay, I'm gonna go buy this so I can go ahead and publish it. And people are like, no, that's not
how that works.
Yeah, you just bought a book. All you did was buy a book.
That was the
rare
Twitter
book
thing I saw where it's you just spent millions of dollars on a coffee table book, you fucking idiots.
Yeah,
I didn't quite know what that meant.
No, they were like, oh, we're gonna do so much with it. We're going to we're going to publish it online, and
that's not how that
pay
works.
for it, and we're gonna make a movie out of it, maybe a TV series. And the people were like,
yeah,
no,
you're gonna make a movie out of Jodorowsky's wish to make a movie. Have fun.
Yeah,
because they're not going to be making the movie Dune. The whole thing with that book and his documentary was, here's what I would have done.
Not only that, but the book is is also archived digitally already, free to read. Anybody to read right now.
I did not realize that, but what I was going to say is that you could do the same thing you do to any NFT image and just right-click and save.
So he bought something that was they bought something that was freely available to everybody else, and like if you wanted to collect the rare book, okay, but you just have a gross misunderstanding of what the fuck you don't
spend millions of dollars to know what's in the book when anyone knows what's in the book.
Yeah, no, it's just like just to show you what kind of geniuses we have, like, dealing with this crap.
Yeah, well, that's like spending tons of money on a copy of a video game with, like, not to have it, but because, like, you didn't realize it was on Steam.
Yeah, you want to publish it, but it's also, like, freely available.
Yeah, now that I have this game and, like, everyone already had it.
Yeah, like, and for free.
Like, yeah, like on itch.io or something.
Yeah, well, no, it's literally you can go and, like, Google like books or something and totally just read it. Like,
that's amazing.
It's freely available. This is so one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, and I'm really happy how dumb it is.
What kills me is, like, we're gonna publish it. Like, the author couldn't publish it.
Yeah,
or he kind of did, but, like, not really.
This isn't one of those situations where they just couldn't publish it because of, like, extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
It's like they couldn't do it because they couldn't do it, like, legally.
Yeah, do you want to incur the wrath of, like, the Herbert estate?
Yeah, Jesus Christ. This was one of the biggest, they just made one of the biggest movies of this year. Like, probably one of the most highly acclaimed movies of this year.
Oh, and not only that, but ironically, they'd be pissing off Jodorosky as well.
Yeah.
It's like, it's my fucking book.
Yeah, exactly. You can't make money off of my thing. Like,
it's someone else's thing, and it's someone else's thing.
It's two layers of that. 2 layers of theft.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Anyway, speaking of God, God of War came out on PC, and apparently it's great there. It
Cool.
looks good and runs well, and everybody's loving it all over again who didn't get a chance to play it. So,
boy simulator, boy.
Boy.
Over here, boy.
It's almost like Wishmaster, or not Wishmaster.
Oh yeah, Phantasm.
Phantasm. Sorry, yeah, wrong.
I can read, boy.
Cheesy
not this language.
horror movie. But I go ahead and watch those movies. Phantasm is actually really good up until the last one. The last one's not good.
Well, I was gonna say about the last one. Number 1,
Unfinished.
Certainly the worst one. Number 2. Ironically, it has my favorite boy in the whole series. Because it's got an echo behind it. You're like, oh no.
But it oddly keeps the quality of the sequels up. Like like 3 and 4, 2, 3, and 4 are really good.
3, I gotta say, when I watched it with you, 3 was way better than I remembered. I remember dreading, like, we gotta get to 3 in order to get to 4, but I quite liked it when I rewatched it.
No,
2 is still my favorite. 2 is fucking crazy.
2's the best sequel, for sure. 2 might be the best one in the series.
Nuts.
Yeah, 2 might be the best one.
2 is a chainsaw fight.
Yeah, no, that was good.
There's a chainsaw fight in a Phantasm movie.
But anyway.
It's the best scene, too, because Reggie's like, ha ha, and he pulls out a chainsaw, and then the other guy just goes over to the shelf and pulls out, like, a considerably longer chainsaw. It's like, oh, fuck. It's amazing.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of humor in those movies, too. Like,
yeah, I think in, like, all of them except for possibly the first one. And even that one, it's been a while. Maybe there's something in there, too. But there's definitely some, like, winking at the camera, kind of like, yeah, I put this in my movie. There's a wonderful part, I think, in 4 where the car flips over and Reggie gets out of there. He's like, quick, we gotta run before it explodes. And the woman's like, I thought that only happened in the movies. And then it immediately explodes. It's great.
But yeah, God of War. God of War is, of course, very, very highly acclaimed, and we're getting a sequel very soon. I need to get a chance to play it, because that's like high on my list. But
well, you're not going to understand anything unless you play 6 games before you get to that point.
Get real. I mean, this is a good jumping on point for anyone.
It really is. There's only a couple points in the entire game that call back to previous things, but like they're explicit. Like, one of them is exposition, like, here's what happened in a previous game, and the other is like, even if you don't know anything, like, you could tell this is significant.
I at this point in video games, and the way that they've been rebooted, and like there have been different eras of video games, it's kind of like comic books. I don't need to read 50 years of Batman comics to understand Batman. The best thing to do is to pick the beginning of an acclaimed run by a specific author, and then follow him. Or them, I'm sorry, follow whatever author that you like.
Yeah, but then how are you going to know about the back and forth repartee he has with Calendar Man?
Oh, Jesus Christ. What I'm saying is, like, you don't need to play everything in order to get it. You
by the way, I just want to throw out there, that's one thing I'm genuinely impressed by in, I think it was Arkham City, where they made Calendar Man just kind of creepy and unsettling.
Yeah,
he's fucking Calendar Man.
He's supposed to be even a joke in the comics, like even in his best role, which was in Long Halloween. His most prominent role is in Long Halloween, and like the whole thing about him is that like he's useless, like to deal with the issue at hand.
Remember there's that one cartoon show that I think it follows like Harley and Poison Ivy or something?
Yeah.
And like they're in jail and they're just chatting with each other, and they're like, we've been in here for how long, Calendar Man? It's like 103 days, just like immediately, or like whatever the weird number was. Thanks, Calendar Man.
Yeah, he's just lame. I mean, like that's what he is. He's lame. And that's kind of the point. But that's a golden age villain if I ever heard of one.
Well, there's a lot of weird, goofy shit like that. Like with my power of calendars, or like with my knowledge of dates, like I'll attack on Valentine's Day. I'll attack on April Fool's. Like, but who gives a shit?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That man does not appreciate. Like, Joker has clown gimmicks, but he uses them to cause harm. Calendar Man is just neurotic about like the day of the year.
I mean, Joker's more about like the dissonance of the clown versus what he does.
Joker has a gimmick, but it's not like I wasn't paying attention to the day you attacked. Like, you're still just a guy.
Yeah. I mean, this is not a well-developed character. His thing is that he's lame. Like that is.
And they made him kind of creepy in Arkham City.
Yeah.
Where he's just like mumbling to himself, like 30 days, September, April, June, and November. Could you stop muttering, Calendar Man?
Exactly. Moving on from that, one of my best wishes came true, Lotus. I am very happy. I am like ridiculously happy about this news. I'm not joking or anything. I'm genuinely very excited. So this was one of the things that I never thought would happen, especially with Neo Geo Pocket Color stuff, because it's a Neo Geo Pocket Color. First of all, I never expected any of those games to ever get ported to anything ever, because it was such a. I bet you more copies of these digital ones have been sold than all of the ones worldwide originally.
Well, because only 15 people worldwide own a Neo Geo Pocket Color in the first place.
And I owned it after it died. So
how many people were buying copies of these games that weren't exactly flying off the shelves?
Yeah, exactly. And it's really a shame because it had a very high good game to bad game ratio, high quality game, and one of the really good long form games. There weren't very many RPGs or adventure games or strategy games on the system. There were only a few, a handful. Most of the games that were really good on the system were fighting games, and there's a couple action platformer games, that kind of thing. But by and large, most of the really good games on the system were SNK fighting games, like you would think. But this is the big one that nobody ever thought would happen. And I kind of brought this up when they did Match of the Millennium. SNK versus Capcom was Match of the Millennium is still one of my favorite fighting games of all time. It's very underrated, but it just feels good, and it's also very casual friendly, but it's also very hardcore friendly. It's just a really, really good fighting game, and it only uses 2 buttons, which is really insanely cool when you think about it. The way that it works is that you can do a tap for a jab, and then for like a roundhouse, you would hold the button down. So there are like 4 different inputs with the 2 buttons. But yeah, it is just really, really a great fighting game. And I said, I don't think they'll make a volume 2 of the collection, because it says volume 1. They came out with a whole bunch of, of these Neo Geo Pocket Color fighting games, and basically all of them, right? I don't think they missed any of the fighting games. I think every single one, every single one of the color ones, I should say. The black and white ones, they didn't do. I mean, for good reason, because like all the color ones are sequels to those games, and they're just better versions of those. The Neo Geo Pocket originally was black and white before they upgraded to color. Anyway. So what ended up happening was I was very surprised if they could come out with any more games after this, because they really got a lot of them, like the vast majority of the really good games. And I said the big like out there wish list item would be the SNK versus Capcom Card Battler game. Card Fighters Clash, because that is one of the very few long-form games on the system that was really, really good and beloved by fans of the system. But again, you need to have, not only SNK's permission, but Capcom's permission. So I was talking with you. I was like, I kind of hope that they struck a deal to do both, at the same time, and looks like they did. So it just dropped out of nowhere, with no announcement, no fanfare or anything. And it's technically both games, 2 games, because it was released Pokemon style, like in 2 different flavors, Capcom and SNK flavor. So you are getting both games. It's the same game, but you play either the Capcom version or the SNK version, and you play as either Shin or Cap, which is really funny, because like Cap is Capcom, right? That one's obvious, but sure. Do you know why Shin is funny?
Well, I forgot, because like I forgot what SNK stands for, but I'm assuming it relates to that.
Shin Nihon Kokaku, which is new Japan project is what SNK stands for. So yeah, it's pretty cool that his name, the character's name is Shin, like kind of like Gary and Ash. So in blue and red. So yeah, it's just really cool to see it. What's cool about this game is like there aren't many like card battler games out there. Most of them are based off of like a real card game. And this was a card game that was just made for this video game, and what's cool about it is it teaches you how to play. It gives you a tutorial at the beginning, and then they give you a starter deck, and then you start beating harder and harder enemies, and it's a lot of fun. It's really good, and the art is amazing, and the music is really good. So if you're into that kind of thing, I can tell, not everybody would be, but if you're into that kind of thing, it's kind of like the gold standard. I mean, the Pokemon trading card game is kind of similar, and a lot of fun as well, and underrated, by the way, but for the Game Boy Color. But this game would be right up your alley if you were into that. It's a lot of fun. There are 2 sequels to this. The first one is on Neo Geo Pocket Color and never came out in English, so I very, very much doubt that we'll be getting that.
And the other was what, the DS game?
It was a DS game that it was famously glitched to hell in the New Game Plus. like it was broken, so you had to send away for a fixed copy of the game, like mail order.
Yeah, I think I actually have a fixed copy of that game.
Yeah, so do I. It's very rare. I think there's only like 1,000 copies of that out there. But
I honestly didn't pay much for mine, and like the box was labeled like fixed version.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. But apparently the DS one isn't nearly as good as the originals. To people that really like it. So this is your time. I mean, it's on Switch. It's emulated by the same people who did the other masterful emulations of all the other Neo Geo Pocket Color games that are on Switch right now. So go for it if it sounds like it's up your alley, because it's kind of one of the best of its kind. So this next one is yours.
Yeah, Games Done Quick has concluded, and it was a lot of fun.
There you go.
I don't have an exact number for their ending amount of money they made, because they haven't uploaded like the conclusion to the, or at least when I last checked, they hadn't uploaded the conclusion. By the time you're listening to this podcast, they certainly will have. But they broke $2.5 million. So good for them. They just keep knocking it out of the park. Tons of amazing runs, multiple world records of speedruns set, which is always exciting to see when it's live. They finally did a playthrough of Zelda's Adventure on CDI, which is ridiculous. They mostly talked over the scenes, because it's not cutscenes. Like, you enter a room and then like you see a character, but like voice plays while you're still able to move around, so they're not really cutscenes. So it's like, let's just get the game, and it's not like meme worthy like the other two CDI games were, so I get it. Although they did specifically leave silence for like particularly funny lines. Like, there's one awkward one where a character gives you a ribbon, and then you later meet like a knight on a horse, and that was like the ribbon I guess he had given to his girlfriend or something, and he gets all mad at you, and he's basically like you have that ribbon, like, oh, you shouldn't have stolen that, like, I'm a tough guy. But like his line just like it's just a weird line. It's something like, you know, you have something that was stolen from me, and I am strong. It's like, okay. All right.
Wow.
So stuff like that. Also, they showed off an Easter egg in the game that apparently people did not know how to access until like October 2020, because nobody has this game, and those who do don't play it because it sucks, and those who did wouldn't think to do a deep dive into how to access this Easter egg, so it took like decades to figure out how this comes out. So it's kind of amazing. It was like a little just wacky thing that you can trigger in the game.
Wow.
Another standout run, I have not yet watched it, but it is ludicrous. So have you ever seen any runs where people play blindfolded? I think I might have mentioned one to you, like for Punch-Out Wii.
For Punch-Out, yeah.
Alright, so I have seen runs of like Dark Souls 3, where partway through the run, they'll be like, well, the incentive has been met, people donated enough money to make this happen, so I'm going to put on a blindfold before I fight this boss. Get ready. Well, somebody played through all of Sekiro in about 2.5 hours blindfolded, which is fucking bananas. I want to see how the hell they did that, because that game is not easy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's like people who can see like have trouble with that game.
Well, I was going to mention, like, last year there was a run where people could see, and that was 1.5 hours. And I think the year before was 2.5 hours. Now this guy does it fucking blind 2.5 hours?
What a legend.
He's apparently one of only 3 people who have ever done this. I wonder why. But, like, what a badass.
I'm surprised 3 people have done it, honestly.
Well, speaking of which, the person who was commentating as this guy was playing, because you know this guy's not talking, because he absolutely needs to hear, like, audio cues and everything, like when enemies attack. The guy who was commentating, I think, has also done it, so he knows what he's talking about. It's freaking insane.
Crazy.
So all sorts of cool stuff to look up. There's a week's worth of gameplay. Tons of fun. I recommend looking into it on their Twitch and YouTube channels.
Gotcha. And I just kind of wanted to bring this up because I saw that, like, you of all people, like, tweeted about this
thing?
I
didn't know what it was, so I was like, why are people tweeting this stupid thing? But I gave it a shot. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, go ahead about it.
Yeah, there's something that's kind of, it seems to be catching on generally on social
permeating
media.
through
It's called
Twitter.
Wordle.
Yeah.
Like Wordle. And do you know what it is, Vice?
I don't know. It looks very similar to just like a crossword puzzle or something like that. Yeah. Or a word find.
It's Mastermind, but with words. Okay. So it's a 5-letter word. You have 6 chances to guess what it is. And you must type in words. You can't type in like A. Like you mmust type in a recognized word.
Oh, so it's Hangman.
Yeah, but it's Mastermind. Because when you type in a word, it has a color for each letter you typed. If it's gray, it's wrong. If it's yellow, you have a correct letter, but it's in the wrong spot. Okay. And if it's green, you have a correct letter in the right spot. Can you figure out what the word is in 6 guesses?
Gotcha.
So that's the game.
Wow. Yeah, it's apparently like really popular all of a sudden.
Yeah, because it's so quick. Like you do it in like 30 seconds, and then you're like, all right, I'll see you in like several hours for the next round, because you can't grind away at it. Like you play it once, and then it comes back in like, I forgot how many hours.
Gotcha. I just thought it was interesting. It was just you of all people.
Yeah, check this thing out. It's kind of cool.
Nice. Well, I just had to talk about this game because I saw a GIF of it and I lost my mind.
Okay.
It's a game called Buck Up and Drive. The best way to describe it is it's kind of a it's a runner where you're playing Outrun instead of like running.
Sure.
But your car can do all kinds of crazy stuff. It can spin, like in Outrun 2, you can do like all the fishtailing and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like you can hit speed boosts. You can grind on rails. Your car can hop.
Oh, it's like stupid bullshit. You could just whatever. Why not?
Yeah, it looks like all the cars look like they're inspired by like famous other cars. Like I'm the one I'm looking at right now looks like a Honda Civic from Initial D, like that specific one.
Okay.
This one looks like a VW Beetle. This one looks like a Ferrari from the 80s, like the Outrun one. And it just looks fucking bananas. And you can check other cars kind of like in Burnout. And like it says all kinds of weird stuff like out of my way. And then like one of the things it says is fuck off. Like it's just really funny.
That's great.
There are cops in it, kind of like Hot Pursuit used to be. Like there's like different
Road Rash
phases. Yeah, there's like different phases of the game, and there's like a bonus mode or something. I need to play it because I haven't played it yet, but it's like $6.39 at the moment on Steam, so
sure.
That's sold. But eventually you do a one-on-one fight with another car, like a fighting game, and you like somebody was like just like I did not expect here in my long-running like fighting game career to be playing footsies with a Ferrari, but I am right now.
Well, not exactly Ferrari, but clearly somebody has not played Fighters Mechanics.
And one of the best parts of the game is that there's like an option to turn off like SJW stuff. It just adds more.
That's pretty great.
It adds pride flags everywhere.
Oh, that's amazing.
And like people are really mad about it in the comments, in the ratings, and it's just like, no, this is what, and then some of the people are really love it because
it's
of
just
that.
Like your tears sustain me.
Yeah, it's so good. So yeah, this game is sold. Like I am gonna be playing this game.
The idea of a car grinding, it makes me think of,
it's hilarious.
Well, there was this one, like, I forgot what it was, like a PS1 or PS2 game or something, maybe, like Japan only. Do you remember that meme back when we were in college? Like multi-track drifting?
Oh, yeah, I remember hearing
where
about
a train
that.
is just like it's drifting on multiple tracks at the same time because like just fuck physics. It's just fun. You could just do that. I mean, it's from a manga. It's not from the game, but the game was like an adaptation of the manga. It just makes you think of stuff like that. Like I saw the Continue show, for example, playing a Japanese train game where I forgot what it was called, but it was a race, except that at the end you had to stop like at the platform.
Yeah.
But they're like if you're driving or on like a like if there's a lateral track next to you, you could just inexplicably hop to it and try to like block your opponent. It's like
it's bananas.
The car game you're describing isn't quite the same. It sounds borderline Tony Hawk, but it just makes me think of just utter stupid bullshit like that, and that's just fun.
Oh no, this is
like Cruising USA where you're flipping. It's like whatever.
This is very kinetic, and like it looks like a manga. Like it even has like the Speed Racer lines, like while you're playing it. I mean, I just linked it to you so you can even look at it because it's just fucking bananas. This is the kind of shit that I love. Just like so silly, but like
stupid video game stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's so silly, but it also like indicates a love of like video games because like grinding and like outrun stuff is like all ingrained in like Sega fans. Like you know. Stuff like grinding has always been a thing since Jet Grind Radio and also Sonic Adventure and all that crap. So
and Tony Hawk
Tony Hawk, just that era of gaming in particular.
Sonic really like I did not expect him to be like Sonic to be grinding rails, and then there are like levels specifically dedicated to it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like so the final acts where you open just like in space grinding on this rail through rings, like through these giant hoops, and you're like, whoa.
This is really 1999, like early 2000 kind of bullshit.
Yeah, isn't this badass and cool? And it kind of is, but it's also stupid.
It is really stupid, but it's great. One of the best things that I saw recently was that somebody was skateboarding like at like a skate park, and you're looking at a skateboard and it's a little weird. And then, like he does like he comes up to the edge of the half pipe that he's on, and plants there, so you could just up top, how they do that, and you see that it's a miniature half pipe, and somebody takes a tech deck and does the same thing in the half pipe that he's riding on.
Oh, what with like the fingerboard thing?
Yeah, the tech decks. And then he goes back down on the half
dog,
pipe
I heard you
skateboard.
Like skateboarding.
It's so good. It's like one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. But tech decks. That
is like, extremely of the time. Like
cool very tricks with
of your fingers on a tiny little skateboard, like on your school desk or something.
Like everybody had them at the time,
and they even had little. Well, like you already said, they like that little skate park things, like little quarter pipes and half pipes. Little rails.
Yeah. Tech decks were like a really popular thing when we were in middle school, like
very
6th, 7th
of the
grade.
time.
Yes, yeah. It was just when Tony Hawk, the original Tony Hawk, came out. That's when it was popular.
Yeah, like I never had those, but I certainly remember the commercials, and I think I saw some of them like in school.
Like kids would bring them to school and just like futz around with, like before there were fidget spinners, people had tech decks. You know,
basically was that.
Yeah, people would grind on their keyboards in computer class. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on. There were a couple really great shmups to come out on Switch this week. It's actually been kind of a shmup renaissance lately, especially on Switch. Arcade Archive's GunNail came out, and this is a really good shmup that never got a release on any system ever. It never got ported. So like it's like a really good opportunity. It's one of those early to mid 90s arcade games that just looks freaking beautiful. Like early to mid 90s was the best before it got to polygons for every game. Because that's when the best like pixel art was and the best animation. This game is like during that era, and it looks beautiful. Definitely pick it up. It's really cheap too. It's like $7.99 for the same thing with all other Arcade Archives games.
But by the way, what you're saying kind of reminds me. Have you ever seen Blazing Chrome?
Yeah, that game's great. That's a Contra-like game.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because I saw it on GDQ, like, what if Contra were made in 2021? It's the game.
Yeah, it's basically like a sequel to a Contra Hardcore specifically. It's like a spiritual successor to Contra Hardcore. It's really good. Yeah, and it's worthy of that name. It's a good game. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out because our Hamster is really doing really important work by preserving these games that have never gotten a chance to be sold, for the home market. So I'm really happy about that. And one of my favorite shmups of all time, I cannot stress enough how good this game is, especially for anybody who is looking to get into shmups. It's not just a shmup game that you would buy if you love the genre. It's a game that anybody could play and would love the hell out of it. It's kind of like playing Soul Calibur. Like Soul Calibur is a fighting game that anybody can have fun with, right? I really like Soul Calibur.
I was fascinated by it back in the day. I still like it a lot.
Yeah. It's just a good series for that. And Eschatos is one of the best shmups I've ever played. It's one of the best games, shmups in the last 20 years. In the modern era, I can think of very few other shmups that are as good. And it's not a bullet hell game, which is part of the reason why it's so good. It is not impossible. It's just one of those games that if you really want to be good at it, and not die and rack up a really good score, you have to be good at it. You have to master that. But to get through the game and have a fun time and get through the bosses and the fun stuff that's going on the screen, there's a lot of really cool most of the game you're fighting just generic flying saucers, but they look funny and cool. It's kind of kitschy in that way. You're fighting 50s UFOs, it's kind of fun.
Sure.
So this is actually this is the third game made by the people who made Judgment Silver Sword and I think it's Crimson Sin, two basement developed Wonder Swan games that were released posthumously on the Wonder Swan, and and also really good shmups that kind of use this very similar scoring system. So it actually comes with those two games packed in and included as well. So it's actually 3 games, which is really great. Those games are really good on their own too. I know it sounds funny, how can a Wonder Swan shmup be any good? But it's really good. So I just want to I think they're releasing it for $25 on Switch. It is worth every penny. I bought this back on the 360, back when it was an import-only game, and it is worth every penny. It's really good. I bought this game twice so far. I bought it on the 360 back in the day, and then I bought it on Steam when it got to be more accessible in the United States. But I will probably buy it for Switch too, just because it's one of those games that you can just I just want to do a run through Eschatos right now and see if I can beat my high score kind of thing. So it's really, really good. I definitely recommend it. And Pocky and Rocky Reshrined, which we've been talking about, it's the third of the Natsume remake games after Wild Guns and
Ninja Savior.
Ninja Saviors,
excuse me.
Ninja Saviors, yeah. They just put out a new trailer, which looks great, and it's coming out in April 21st in Japan. So we'll probably get it very soon after. I can't wait because all of these Natsume remakes have been fan-freaking-tastic.
Here's my question. It's called, I know it's called something different in Japan, but it's called Pocky and Rocky because you play as Pocky and you play as Rocky, right?
Correct.
With that knowledge, Do you think there are going to be 2 different new playable characters? Because there were in the other 2 Natsume games.
I would think so, because I wouldn't be surprised if they made this into a 4-player shmup.
Okay.
But that might even be revealed in the trailer. But I know in the 3rd Pocky and Rocky game, or the 4th one, the 4th one, the Game Boy Advance game, there is already a 3rd character in the series called Becky. Yeah. Okay. Because that game is called Pocky and Rocky with Becky.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I already know that Becky is part of, like, that lineage.
Oh, I hope they keep going. That's very funny. I didn't know about that. Pocky and Rocky with Becky.
Yeah.
That's great.
The original name of this series is called Kiki Kai Kai. So they just named the main character, instead of Kiki, Pocky, and the Tanuki they changed him to a raccoon and called him Rocky.
Sure.
But he's a Tanuki, very clearly.
That's my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy character, is Rocky Raccoon.
He's not a raccoon.
Yeah, technically, yeah, that's one of those weird cases where, like, yes, he is, but he's not. He's just...
He looks
in
like
every
one.
way like a raccoon.
But he's not one.
Yeah.
Yes. He's like a mutant super soldier.
Yeah. But it's like Patches in Dark Souls. Like, he's Patches in Demon Souls. No, he isn't. He looks like him. I know. Acts like him, talks like him. Yup. It's the same guy? Nope. All right.
It's like, an actor in another role, a familiar actor.
Yeah, but this is an actor in the same role.
Yes, but it's...
But he's a different guy, though.
It's like, the best way you could describe it is it's like Launchpad in Darkwing Duck. He's not the same Launchpad as in Darkwing Duck.
Yeah,
DuckTales.
That's very good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably the best way I could describe that.
Yeah, he's just a different character. Sorry.
He's a different character that is exactly the same, but not in the same continuity.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. But I just wanted to mention that because Pocky and Rocky is a fun game to begin with, but, like, with this team making it, I cannot freaking wait. Like, every one of these remakes has been, like, the games that they remade were already really, really fucking good. And, like some of the best action games for the Super Nintendo, and they made them better in every way, both times.
Yeah, HD widescreen plus more features.
Yeah, and
like,
they redrew they redrew like almost the entire like Ninja Saviors.
Yeah.
Like it looks significantly different. And like they did it in a way that you didn't even notice it unless you compared it. Like it looks like it belongs. Which is an amazing feat.
Oh, and also I just want to throw this out there. The new characters that they got for both Wild Guns and Ninja Saviors play differently.
Like, a lot differently.
Yeah, like, even in Wild Guns, like, Annie and, what's his name, Billy or something?
Yeah.
They're the same character. But the new characters are wildly different.
Yeah. Yeah. They have, they like putting fat characters as, like, the new
there's
characters.
The woman who has, like very different playstyle.
Yeah.
And then there's the dog who could, like, fly around. But, like, and in Ninja Saviors, the robots already had pretty different... Like, it was mostly different stats. But then you have, like, the new one that's small but has the crazy tentacle moves. And then the big robot where you have to input, like, a button commands to turn around. He's... Like, do you remember, like, the weights of the robots? Where it was, like... The female robot's like 180 or something, and like the mantis robot's like 190, and then the male ninja's like 500.
Yeah,
like the new robot's like 2,000. You're like, oh my god,
literally a ton.
He is huge.
I'm so happy, but yeah, I can't wait. So Trails of Xero limited pre-orders are up at Nippon Ichi Software if that's your thing.
This might explode in value because Nippon Ichi Software, like, exclusive pre-orders, like, if they end up getting popular, if you miss them, you miss them.
Yeah, and this is part of a long-running series that is popular in other ways. This is, of course, part of the same thing as the Trails of Cold Steel series. And
The Sky.
Yeah, Trails in the Sky, Trails of Azure. Yeah, so this is a big deal because these are like the missing games that we never got. So that's pretty cool. I'm not a big on these exclusives, and I don't even know if I'm gonna pick this game up just because I'm so goddamn far behind in the series. There's too many of them.
This is a physical exclusive. Like obviously, you could still get it anywhere you want if you go digital. But for the people who are in it for they want the physicality of it. The games are really pretty limited.
The games are really long too, so like yes. I have no chance of catching up on the series. Like just not, I don't.
Well, that's how I feel about Persona. Like, oh, the new one's really cool. Like, yeah.
I mean, there's only 3 of them. 3 of them modern games. I mean, you could play those. Like pretty.
There's
easily.
a bunch of spin-offs and everything. I don't fucking want to get
involved. You don't need to play the spin-offs. Like, come on. Like there's most of those.
If I don't play Dancing All Night, I will know nothing.
You don't need to play all that. Get out of here. That's like playing all the Kingdom Hearts games.
Yeah, fuck that.
You should be doing that.
And then go to a Japanese concert.
Yeah. And one of the like fan favorite like Vita fans, like Vita fans like really dig this game, Demon Gaze. It's like one of the games that was locked to the Vita. It was like one of the reasons to like keep your Vita around.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in store shelves a bunch.
Yeah, it's actually been rescued and brought out on the Switch as Demon Gaze Extra, so it has even extra content on top of it.
There really are not many Vita titles left. Like, the only ones that I think will never be ported are the motion-sensitive ones, like Monkey Ball, but even then, you could make it work on the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, there's a Katamari game on there.
Yep. What is it? No, PSP was Touch My, right?
No, that's Me and My Katamari. Touch My Katamari is Vita, because it has a touch screen.
Of course.
And Uncharted, right?
Silent Hill Book of Memories.
Yeah, there really isn't a solid case for a Vita anymore. It pretty much the last like really the biggest game for that system in general was Persona 4 Golden, and that was rescued last year. Or 2 years ago, was it? So I think it was last year. But I mean, it was great while it lasted, and it was highly powered for what it was.
Yeah, the fact that you could cross-play some PS4 games is pretty crazy.
I mean, that's how I played Danganronpa back in the day as well. So like that, there's like a good reason to have a Vita back then, but nowadays all the good stuff that was on it that was released then, I mean, it's probably just still the best way to play PSP games.
That's what I was going to mention.
That's the only
PSP
thing
stuff you could play. Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of. It's really good way to play PlayStation 1 games on the go, which is a viable argument.
But it's probably the best way. Cuts down on loading times and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it really did PlayStation 1 games really well. I can honestly say that.
Like, I remember when it was new, the idea that you could just walk around and play Final Fantasy VII was, like, insane. Like, that was, like, incomprehensible to me at the time.
Yeah, the PSP still has the best version of Final Fantasy IV. So, like, that's the easiest way to play Final Fantasy IV complete, is on the Vita or the PlayStation TV. So, but yeah, I mean, the reasons to keep one around for exclusives is like dwindling.
It's like the Wii U. Like, you could count on one or two hands, maybe.
Yeah, and the stuff that's left are most of its curiosities, not even like really good stuff, like top tier stuff. And like even Xenoblade Chronicles X is not the best game in that series by a long shot.
Oh, you mean Wii U?
Yeah, for Wii U. But Vita, I mean, even less so, honestly. I can't think of like this was one of the last holdout games like that people really liked. So yeah, this is a good thing though, by the way. And I know we have bombarded people with bummer deaths lately, and that we have no control over that. But there have been a lot of high profile, really sad deaths lately. But it's good every once in a while to celebrate the life of somebody who's still with us. who's a living legend. And this week was the 74th birthday to John Carpenter, one of our favorite directors, I would say, both of ours.
And you know what I read just today, actually, on Twitter? Apparently, he's a big fan of Halo Infinite.
Yeah, no, he's a really cool guy. Like he's up with it. He's playing music, like he's touring.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize this unless you were like a big John Carpenter fan, but like most of his movies, he scored them as well. Like the vast majority of his movies. Yep. The Halloween theme, the really famous one, is his theme. Yeah, I mean he's awesome. He's a really cool dude. He's really great in interviews. Still, he's really funny. He's totally with it, and he's awesome. And like people keep thinking he's dead, which is also a running gag. Because I guess people confuse him with Wes Craven because like like he's from the same era, and like it's Wes Craven's whatever. So it's
Wes
John
Craven's
Carpenter's
Freddy's Nightmare or whatever.
Yeah, New Nightmare.
New Nightmare, excuse me.
Yeah. But like John Carpenter's The Thing, I get that. I get why you would. So like when Wes Craven passed away, everybody thought that John Carpenter had passed away, and he's just like, I'm still here, and nobody's fucking paying me.
Yep.
But seriously, if you want to have a good time, watch The Thing, which is one of our favorite movies. That's one of your favorites. It's one of mine.
I think I've said, like, I mean, I can never put down like my number one movie of all time, but it probably is my number one horror movie.
It's way up there. It is my favorite horror movie, for sure. Well, it's up there with Alien. The
Alien is very, very, very good.
Yeah, so, like, what's kind of funny is, like, in my top 5 films of all time, it has, like, 2 Ridley Scott movies, and he's not even close to being my favorite director. It's really funny. He's so spotty. Like, Ridley Scott, you can't rely on him for a good movie. And he's made so many good ones, but he's also made a lot of garbage. I don't know what his problem is. Like, apparently this year he made one of his best movies ever, and nobody saw it. The Last Duel.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Apparently it's really fucking good, and nobody saw it, including me. Because, it got overshadowed by, Spider-Man and a bunch of other stuff. But, and even The Matrix overshadowed it. Which ended up taking a huge loss. But anyway, I just wanted to celebrate, The Thing, the original Halloween. I don't think any of the sequels are really good except for the Danny McBride recent sequel, but not the sequel to that sequel. Just the one that's called Halloween. That one's good. And just that original's really good. And I don't know, John Carpenter's made a lot of other really kind of fun, kitschy stuff. I mean, you have Big Trouble in Little China.
That's like my top 3 John Carpenter movies in no particular order are The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, and In the Mouth of Madness.
I still haven't seen In the Mouth of Madness. Okay.
Yeah, we need to watch that. That, like, I don't know if it'll necessarily be your favorite.
I intend on liking it because, like, I watched Red Letter Media. And
I was gonna say, like, I do not doubt that you're gonna like it. Is it gonna be one of your favorites? I don't know, but I love that movie. They weren't too big on it on Red Letter Media. They thought it was like upper middle, but I love it.
It looks up my alley, so I definitely want to watch it. He made Vampires, which is famously not liked by people.
I saw it on TV back in the day. I quite liked it at the time, but I don't know if I would like it if I were to watch it today.
It's also like one of those things, like maybe it would be better like received today, kind of thing. I'm sure like there were no fans of Vampire's Kiss when that came out, and now it's like a freaking classic. So
well, in its own way.
Yeah, but I think there is self-awareness in that movie. There
is.
I think people just didn't get it back then. It was just one of those things.
But a lot of vampires really, and I do remember this because I have seen this movie, a lot of it is what Red Letter Media said it was. It's like, James, Woods is a fucking badass, and like, you know, like that's the whole movie. Like, and these guys are anti-heroes, and you're not really supposed to like them, but they're just assholes. Why are you there? And I'm following them the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you there if you're not to have sympathy for them or empathy? No, I get that.
And the villain of the movie is pretty unmemorable, honestly. Like the opening scene is amazing. I love that scene, but a lot of where it goes from there is like, okay.
Yeah. And then there's Escape from New York.
I never did see that.
Which is quite good. And then its sequel is quite bad. Escape from L.A. I feel like it's kind of like what Red Letter Media said about like Escape from L.A. They gave him enough money to make a sequel, so he just said fuck it and did whatever the fuck he wanted and had fun with it. But to the point where the movie doesn't make any fucking sense, and it's basically a remake.
Oh, and you know, like my dad actually introduced me to Prince of Darkness. And Red Letter Media wasn't really big on that movie, and I get it, but I don't know. I was following the intrigue. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to love about John Carpenter. I mean, he put out some questionable stuff, but like his really good stuff is really freaking good. And the practical effects he used in his films, I'll say this till the day I die.
The Thing was untouchable.
The Thing probably has the best, literally the best practical effects that I've ever seen in a movie.
You know what they mentioned? This is another Red Letter Media thing. From like years ago when they reviewed The Thing specifically. You know that one scene where the guy's doing the defibrillator and then he gets his hands bitten off or arms bitten off?
Yep.
When he's just raving around going, with no arms, and he's on the screen for like, you only see him on the screen for like 2 seconds doing that, where it's just like, they actually got a guy with no arms. Like, for that 2 seconds to make it real.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy.
Like, just the way that they animated the Thing itself just is insane. Like,
and that's another movie people like at the time didn't get. They thought it was just like not torture porn, but like gore porn.
Yeah,
and I get it because it's fucked up, but it's a very clever movie.
He also made They Live, and that movie's a lot of fun too.
I have not seen that, but I did see the classic It's Time to Chew Bubblegum and Kick Ass.
Yeah.
Which still sounds weird to me, because I only ever heard Duke Nukem say kick ass and chew bubblegum.
Which has a better flow to it, to be honest.
It does, yeah. It's time to chew bubblegum and kick ass and a lot of gum. Like, he has to go back to the gum. It feels a little weird.
Yeah.
Although I do like the way he starts that, though, because Duke Nukem makes it sound like a cool line. But in They Live, he just walks into a bank with a whole bunch of people, and the way he opens it is so good. It is time to chew bubblegum. Like, what the fuck? Where's he going with this?
He apparently ad-libbed that, and they kept it in
because it's so
cut.
weird.
Yeah. So that's why it's so stilted.
To chew bubblegum and kick ass. What the fuck?
And apparently John Carpenter loved it so much, he was just like, yeah, that's going in.
And it was like the same thing in Blade. Like, some motherfucker's always trying to skate uphill. It's like, what? Like, that's going in the movie.
But yeah, They Live... The main character was Roddy Piper, who is one of the best villains in wrestling history. He's just like loves to be the bad guy.
Because it's fun. Like, you get to be a ham when you're a bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. So he actually his shtick was making the audience incredibly angry at him. Like, to the point where but he sold the match that way. Everybody loved it when Hulk Hogan dunked on him. Because Hulk Hogan's the hero back then. Now, of course, he's a villain, but back then he was Captain America, basically. Yeah. So Roddy Piper would come out and say some really offensive crap, and then Hulk Hogan would go in there and beat the crap out of him. Now Hulk Hogan says some really offensive crap, and everybody loves Roddy Piper. So,
because he's a nice actual person.
Yeah, no, like in real life, he was a good dude.
This is such a weird thing to bring up, but did you ever see, like, I can't even find it online anymore. Did you ever see that What Would You Do for a Klondike Bar commercial with Rowdy Roddy?
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that with Rowdy Piper, but I know what you're talking about. I know that format.
Yeah, there's 100 of those commercials.
Yeah.
Like, I would do this weird thing, like, memorable scene for the commercial. But there was a really funny one with Rowdy Piper, where, like, it's some guy at home, and he's like, I want to, like, have a fight with Rowdy Piper. And then he just, like, you know, he just busts into the guy's house, starts throwing him all over the place. He's, like, breaking shit, knocking all sorts of stuff over. And then he's, like, throwing stuff at him, and he's about to throw this urn. And the guy's like, wait, not that. That's, like, the ashes of, like, my adorable, like, dog from way back when. And Rowdy's like, oh, shit, like I'm sorry, I had no idea. You know, I used to have a dog kind of like that. It was so cute. It's really the best. And they're both just, like, reminiscing on the couch. And then after, like, a few seconds, it's like, so you good to resume? Like, yeah, I think I am. Okay. And he starts, like, just tearing the place up again. It's great.
Yeah, no, he was a cool dude. I really like it's. I don't like watching actual wrestling because there's just so much, like, crap to wade through until you get to the good stuff.
Well, in my opinion, the crap to wade through is the wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, the skits are often pretty entertaining.
Yeah. All the what are they called? The promos. The promos are, like,
I mean,
the
like,
best
there
part.
are some cool moments in the actual wrestling matches. Like, whoa, that move. Like, that's really hard to pull off, and it looks well choreographed. But, like, yeah, the promos are the interesting part to me.
Yeah, I like the storyline. You know, the storyline.
Yeah, I've mentioned this before, like with when Old Man Stompy was on the podcast regularly. But like the Firefly Funhouse with Bray Wyatt.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that was awesome.
Captivating.
Nothing beats the dilapidated boat. That was just very good. But yeah, the Hardy Boys. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, that was. The whole Hardy Boys thing was so stupid. I loved it.
I love that they with that silly crap they made themselves relevant again. Like, you know, like
it's
after
time for
so
me to
long.
reclaim my lost glory, and it's like pathetic to watch. Like, that was actually pretty great.
Like, they were wrestling for a promotion that nobody gave a crap about. Yeah. And then, like, made themselves relevant, and now they're, like, you know, wrestling today because of it. You know, like, still wrestling today. It's really amazing. But yeah, I think we can wrap things up because John Carpenter. We talked about his greatest hits there. Really, don't go watching Ghosts of Mars because that is not a good impression.
Yeah, apparently that might be his single worst movie,
and I think it's his last. I think
no,
it's
it's not. He made something like only a few years ago that I forgot what it was called.
Oh yeah. No, I remember. They brought it up. That apparently isn't that bad, but I
forgot what it was called.
It's apparently not that bad, but it's also like it wasn't like up to.
Yeah, it's not what you picture when you think of a John Carpenter movie.
Exactly. But that is the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and Soundcloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Helps promote and spread awareness of the show. Every bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, where we'll finally get back to the Matrix franchise, Lotus. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, Twitter, and basically anything else. Just give me a heads up and let me know who you are.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play. As a matter of fact, the current game I'm Let's Playing is the Journeyman Project Pegasus Prime. I'm trying to do that on Thursdays at 10 Eastern, which I'm doing it as a stream. So look forward to that. And get in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/lotusprince.
Well, that's just Prime. We'll catch you on Thursday then.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.